speaker this evening, Dr. Paul Bedford. Paul has a PhD which focused on retention in the gym environment. His latest, he's going to talk about his latest report, the National Retention Report, which sampled, I'm reading this, I don't want to get the numbers wrong, 350,000 members from 100 private and public sector health clubs and leisure centres over a 4-year period. To find out more about decision-making processes, why members join, leave, and make the decisions they do. So please welcome Paul.
Okay, I'm used to speaking for hours and days, and I believe I've got minutes. I'm conscious that some of you have got distances to travel. I also have never used a movable whiteboard like this. So I'm a bit anxious about touching it as well, so if your slides come up, I don't know what to do. Alright, brief background of mine apart from the introduction. I've spent more than 25 years working in the fitness industry. I came from a background of plumbing. I was a plumber that got into using the gym, who then trained to be a gym instructor, worked in my local YMCA, progressed through that, had a similar training career pathway as Julian, in that I worked for the YMCA for 14 years as their senior lecturer, writing and developing courses for gym goers, or gym instructors and personal trainers. But I've always had an interest in how you keep people exercising. Ever since I was a gym instructor working in my local YMCA in Croydon, what I would see is lots of people walking through the door, fully motivated, various times of the year, wanting to get involved, self-selecting to turn up, saying, I want to do something here. And then after very short periods of time, losing that motivation, losing the behaviour, or stopping the behaviour fairly quickly. And I couldn't understand why, because I could write really good exercise programs. Like most qualified fitness people, you can write really good exercise programs. But what I realised was that actually, sometimes writing the best exercise program doesn't keep people exercising. Sometimes you have to write a not so good exercise program to keep them exercising, because the best program is just too tough. So it was interesting to hear you say, I'm not a sports person, I run, and not seeing yourself as a sports person. Because lots of people, my sister made a comment to me at Christmas, and she's been in the industry since she was 17, and I think she's 48 next birthday. I'll need to check that. And she goes, I used to train, now I just exercise. Which I thought was a really poignant comment. She used to train, she used to have very specific goals in mind, she used to put a lot of effort into her training, she was very religious about her training, now she just exercises. Now one of the studies, and sort of there's adjunct to the study I'm going to talk about tonight, I did a number of years ago. I spoke to 23,000 customers over a 6-year period, all from in the gym environment. And one of the really interesting things for me was that most people train on a Monday and a Tuesday to outweigh or to pay back the weekend. It was the psychological benefit of training they were looking to get, as opposed to the physical change. I had a naughty weekend, I was good on Monday and Tuesday night, I did something. And that was a large motivator. Only 6% of the people I spoke to had goals. Only 3% of them had them written down. And only 2% of the people, of the 3% who had them written down, their goals matched their activities. That's bizarre. So I've always focused, or I've spent my time focusing, since I trained, I did a master's degree in exercise psychology, I did from my sins, did a second master's degree in research, and ended up doing my PhD, because I'm passionate about the fitness side of the gym business, gym and health clubs, and leisure centres. You know, listening to you talk about British military fitness, if someone says to me, oh, I go to British military fitness, I go, good! I don't see it as a battling, oh, you shouldn't do this, you should do this. I'm a cyclist, and I hear in my cycling magazines, you shouldn't do spinning. Well, when I'm in spinning classes, and there are other cyclists in spinning classes, we don't think of it as, oh, we're spinners now, and we hate those cyclists. It's just a variety of activities we do that contribute to our overall fitness. Now, when I did my PhD, just to show you what is possible if you apply science and look at the science, I ran what's called a randomised controlled trial. That's the most rigorous style of research you can do. It's the one the drugs companies have to do before you get a new drug on the market. And this study was done in central London. I trained level 2 gym instructors for a day on some basic behaviour change techniques. Because the idea was, if you could do it, if you were going to do it, you might as well do it with people that are then going to work in the industry. It's no good having a trained psychologist running the study and talking to everybody. You want actual people who work in the industry to be able to make the changes. Now, this was a 1-hour gym induction, a standard one. That was a see, this is the problem I've got. I'm used to touching the screen. Anyway, the other one, how do I get to go back? Cheers, Liam. What is, if I hold the pen, I won't touch the screen. And again, that one. That's a 1-hour standard gym induction. That's a 1 hour plus some additional support in the first month. So 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, all done on the gym floor while they're exercising, but included behaviour change psychology. The average length of stay is an additional 7 months from joining to leaving. And whenever I measure anything, I don't work in percentages of a 12-month period in the way that you'll hear a lot of stuff reported. It's just a waste of time. Oh, I was hoping that was going to be blank. That one is. I'm actually measuring the difference between the start and the finish in days and months. So, you know, if I took you as a group, I could measure when you started exercising, when you finished exercising, and how many days or months you stayed for. And that's what this looks like. A lot of the stuff you hear reported, frankly, is a waste. It's rubbish. You know, we've got 20% attrition in our business. 20% of people do what when. In the last 12 months, we had 20% attrition. Yeah, did they quit in the first month, that 20%, or in the last month? You want to know how many months each of them stayed so you can plot something like this. So I do these big studies, and they are getting bigger and bigger. The one I'm working on at the moment for the North American market's 1 million members. Yeah, so we're doing Canada and North America. And I do them over long periods as well. I'm not interested in can you keep people for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, which a lot of studies do. It's longevity. This is 4 years. This is one of the biggest studies ever done. If it was published in medical journals, and I don't tend to publish in medical journals, if it was published in the medical journals, it's one of the top 10 largest studies of all time. It's bigger than a lot of the big European diabetes studies. It's a lot bigger than the obesity studies. And that's not for me to show off, it just means I can get a lot of data where they struggle. Currently, in the UK fitness market, 52% of people make it to the end of the first 12 months. 52%. We lose 48% of joiners every 12 months. By the time we get to 4 years, we've only actually got 10% left. 1 in 10 new exercisers stays within, and I'll have to put clarity on this, stays within the same facility for 4 years. Now we don't know if someone who joined a gym, then took up running, then took up British military fitness, and then went and did something else. Because we have no way of tracking individuals, because there's no unique code to track them by. We can't match where they go and find where they go. But if we take 350,000 people and we look at their behaviour, I think that's scary. I think that's really scary. And it's the thing that drives my passion for trying to help health club operators, and at the moment so many leisure centre operators keep hold of their communities. You know, I'm talking to leisure centre operators at the moment who are in a situation where their councils are saying, gym, keep the gym open or empty the bins. They don't ask that question twice in council meetings. If they want to get re-elected, you empty the bins. Yeah? So I'm working with lots of local authorities, and I get to work with some spectacular operators around the world now. And I often see these types of curves. So I'm concerned about how you keep people in this environment. I've shown you what's achievable if you apply behavioural psychology in order to keep adherence going. The thing I think from the fitness side of the industry we stop focusing on, we focus too much on it and not enough on F. Much for me of what's popular at the moment is about high intensity, short duration training. I have no issues with that, it's really good. But it's the frequency of training sessions that gets you the results, not the intensity and the time. this is where I go back to what I said at the beginning. I could write you a really good exercise program based on that. If you don't do it, it doesn't work. Go on, there's a thought there.
That's for your retention, that's not the frequency, right? So you're saying you can't track individuals, so that's the actual gym membership.
That is, yeah, I can track, when I've got data, I can track when they joined, how many visits they make, when they stop paying, that's when they stop paying.
Right, so how much, what's the usage like within that 12 months?
Average usage in the UK fitness market, 1.2 visits per week.
So not very much.
Can I just ask, you know you said there's 5 sectors, is that on the previous slide?
5 sectors, health club chains, this is how I broke it down, health club chains, private independents, local authorities still run by the local authority council, trusts, which are ex-local authority now being run as a charitable organisation, and privately managed leisure centres, private companies running leisure centres on behalf of local authorities.
So as a rule it's all inside stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm interested in, because you know, you're 7 point however many million people going, we want to exercise inside. So I'm interested in them. You know, and I think I've spoken to Will. I think Will came to a seminar I did, who you're covering for, talking about, you know, what goes on outside. And I've spoken to the people at Nordic Walking. I said, at the moment, I'm focusing on this. It's only me. You know, I only have 12 clients a year. I only work with 12 companies a year. I can't work with everybody. I put out a lot of big research so that other people can pick it up and go, let's go with that. What can we do? What was your thought then?
Well, I'm just thinking, is it the impact of all the, you know, the British military fitness factor, if you like, you know, personal trainers?
No, see,
has that dropped numbers off gym membership?
No, I think there's a lot of double counting in the fitness industry. So when the industry reports we've got 7 million members, all it will say is if you 4 have got a club, how many joined your club? How many joined your club? How many joined yours? How many joined yours? And if someone went, joined yours left, joined yours left, joined yours left, joined yours left, they'd be counted 4 times.
Yeah.
That's the trouble with tracking, because we can't track them unless we use their national insurance number. And we have enough trouble with data ourselves and managing the data, let alone having people's... You know. I celebrate things like British military fitness, because it might mean someone who goes, oh, I don't want to go in the gym, goes and does exercise.
Yeah.
I'm not biased about where they go, I just spend my focus time on gyms. I was involved in a programme for the YMCAs, which was called Activate England. We got 8,500 hard-to-reach people active for 12 weeks. Bloody hell, it was hard work. It was really, really hard work. It's hard work keeping people who self-select to come and join fitness facilities to stay, let alone going to people who don't want to exercise and convincing them they should start. So my thoughts is, from a fitness industry perspective, let's get our house in order before we start telling other people what they should be doing. If we can't keep them exercising, what are we going to do with all the people who are new to exercise if we focus on this bit particularly and they have a negative experience? We want them to have positive experiences.
Surely there must be a percentage there that, because of the recession,
Yeah.
people just not leave.
What we're seeing is, because since 2008, there's been a paradigm shift, as far as I describe it, within the provision, with the opening of the budget clubs. And budget clubs, you know, all over the country now, 12, 15, under £20 to be a health club member. What I'm seeing is, it's the same people in there that were in the gyms before. It's the same people moving around. When I've done what's called mosaic profiling, which is a social demographic profile of the different 5 sectors, they all look the same. It's the same types of people, whether they're in a private health club chain, an independent club, local authority, publicly managed leisure centre, privately managed leisure centre, or a trust. The profiles look the same. So I think they just move around. And if it's too expensive, they move somewhere else. I think what's interesting as an observation, it's not relative to this, it's just an observation at the moment. Someone like Fitness First, who started in the industry as affordable fitness, and that was their tagline, has now sold a large number of clubs and is moving up market because he said that's where the money is. But that's about making money as a business rather than delivering a public health agenda. And that's all right, that's what their business is. Next.
Have you got the retention by sector split?
Yeah, but just not here.
No, but does that show you?
I had hours worth of slides, and they went, "You got 20 minutes," and I went, "Sorry," but I did. I was like, "Okay." I just cut them out. Yeah, you can split by sector. The sectors that hold up the highest, chains hold up the highest, but they're held up by hotels, because hotels, for 10 of the top 30 operators in the UK are hotels, and the hotel service delivery is higher. If you split it by the big chains, the small chains, and the hotels do best, then the independents. Private sector do better than public sector. Yeah, so it does all split down.
I was going to say,
yeah.
I realise you have to crack off, but it'd be really interesting to be able to correlate that information there with the kind of Suntos and Garmins and Stravas that we have. So if you were able to take that data and compare it to what they're doing outside the gym, I'm not a member of the gym, but I do a heck of a lot more than these people do.
Yeah.
So when they leave and their 12 months are up because they've finished their contract and they go off and do something else.
They don't even live last 12 months. And then, that's paying, remember?
Yeah, sure. But it'd be interesting to know what, where people are doing. Because if you could work with Polo or Garmin, Sunto or Strava.
I tried to work with Nike.
Yeah, or with them.
I spoke to Nike about working with them as a fuel band and the data they collect. Yeah. They were interested, but they wanted to know how they could commercialise it.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. Can I move on?
Well,
was that a kick, or are you going to put a hand up? Suddenly a hand moved. I thought, was that a kick inside, or was that only top? Go on.
Do you think that the private clubs are retaining people for that much longer purely because they tend to have a 12-month contract in place in a lot of the situations? Like how do you factor that into data?
You can do it in the analysis. You can do what's called correlation, so you can look for what factors do what. Some of it's to do with price point. More people who pay more money stay longer, independent of contract length. People who pay more money tend to be wealthier. Wealthier people, if you look at the exercise adherence research, wealthier people have a greater belief or motivator driver to stay healthy. So there's lots of factors.
So you look at the individual differences.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The white report is 106 pages of stuff that looks like that. I didn't think you'd want to see.
I love it.
Yeah, if you like data like me, it's like. I also did a black report where I interviewed 1,000, it was actually 1,040, but I just say it's 1,000 because people go, why 1,040? 1,000 members who've been members of more than two or more health clubs about why they joined, stayed, quit, joined, stayed, quit. And between them they have 6,500 years of membership, and I videoed them all. It takes up 6 terabytes on a RAID hard drive, so I've got all these videos. And I had a few questions, but it was really about what they were thinking. And this is what I come down to. No one wants a gym membership. And I could possibly say that about marathon running, British military fitness, yoga, Pilates, blah, 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 blah. What people want are the results of having a gym membership. They want what doing that gives you, the outcome. Yeah? Now, some people would choose to exercise in the gym, some people would choose to exercise in other areas. But what everybody wants is results. I once made a statement that someone picked up on and asked me, tried to interview me on. And it was just they heard the quote wrongly. And I said, if the fitness industry paid on results only, there wouldn't be a fitness industry. If you only got paid by the results you gave people, there wouldn't be an industry. But I think that's true of a lot of businesses as well. I think it's just true of the fitness industry. It's a results driven. People stay and stick to things when they get results. Now, they're not always the physical changes. Sometimes it's that accomplishment, I've done this. Sometimes it's that I'm at least doing something. I think one of the challenges we've got with sort of the behavioural change models for activity is that most of the behavioural change models are about giving up behaviours. The stages of change model, the health belief model, there are others which escape me right at this second, I should know them, but I don't. They're all about how you give up smoking, give up overeating, give up alcohol, give up abusive relationships, where physical activity and exercise is about taking something up. And you don't hear many people go, I used to be one of those people who sat down all the time, but I've given up being inactive. It doesn't really have the resonance of, I used to be a smoker, but I quit. I used to be an alcoholic, but I quit.
So you're saying that's good?
I'm just saying that a lot of the models we try and use were developed to help people give things up. And the thing we're trying to get people to give up is sitting.
It's a game.
Yeah, so it's almost the reverse of. Yeah? I'll clarify it a little bit later if that's all right.
That makes sense.
Yeah? Why do they stay? Results. Whatever that is, whether it still makes me feel good. I feel like I've done something today when I could have done nothing. I usually make this statement when I'm teaching staff in leisure centres and in health clubs. The only exercise sessions you regret are the ones you didn't do. Sometimes you lament the workout you were going to do at the end of the day longer than it would have taken to do the workout. You go, do you know what, I haven't got time to work out today, but I've got 2 hours to worry about the fact. I go, do you know what, I can't believe I've come all the way home, I could have worked out. So the results aren't just the physical results, some of them are emotional results. You know, it was, I've never tried a British military fitness class. Okay? I've trained at HMS Temeraire, where they train the PTIs for the Navy, and I've taught PTIs in the Navy, and at Fox Barracks in Aldershot, where I work, training PTIs there as well. But I've never, why? Nothing wrong with it. I like to be on my own when I work out. I use working out as a time to be on my own, a time for self. So when people say to me, oh, if people do group exercise, stay longer than people who don't do group exercise, I've never seen any fitness-related data on that. I've seen it on running groups, Cameron and Phoenix, but I've never seen it on fitness. And that's not I think that's, for me, it's an irrelevant question, because people will select the type of activities they feel would suit them most. Anyone here a swimmer? Okay, so if I said to you as a swimmer, doing group exercise would mean you stuck to exercise longer than being a swimmer. Would that convince you to stop swimming? No. Some people, sorry, I'm going to not pick on you, but use you because you've responded and you asked me a few questions, so it's my turn. When you swim, do you pretty much swim same times or days in a week? Or is it ad hoc?
Ad hoc.
Yours is ad
There
hoc.
will be ones that I focus on, so like a Wednesday morning, I'll try and make that, because I know there's a coach session at
Right.
6:30, so I will make an effort, but ultimately it will be down to kind of, slightly ad hoc.
And do you swim for something? Is that like to compete and so you train rather than exercise?
Yes.
Right. Anyone here an exercising swimmer? When you swim, do you swim at the same time of day or same pool and
Same pool.
yeah, and fit it in around?
Fit it in around. Or when I've got a niggle for running.
Okay, fair enough. I can show you the highest retention that I've ever seen, and I see it repeatedly, is in swimmers. Well, I think there's an element of swimming, and I'll have to explain the follow-on to this in a second, that a large proportion of swimmers are motivated by sameness, not difference and variety.
The real truth when I swim is on hair wash days.
I was going to say.
See, this is what you get from videos and not questionnaires. That's why you interview people. Why do you swim? It's hair wash day. Because I can swim, and then later I can wash my hair, and then...
Yeah. So you're doing 2 jobs in one.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But if you look at motivating factors, I'm conscious of time, but I think this is something to be interested in. I think it is anyway.
Yeah.
If you've got... This is same, and this is difference, and that's a continuum. And you've got some people who like sameness when they exercise, and you've got some people who like difference. People who like difference, like variety, like new, will try new things, will be motivated to go and do things. The complete opposite to that person is someone who never likes to change anything. They're the person who complains in the park that he's in the park working out, because they want the park to stay exactly the same for the next 400 years. Some people like sameness, some people like difference. Some of you are going to be somewhere in here. And I think understanding from, like, if we're training personal trainers or coaches or whatever, to understand that some people like sameness and some people like difference. If I'm a PT, I need to know that in my client, because if my client likes sameness, it might be boring for me, but that's what my client wants. It's driven by the client. If the client likes difference, don't tell them what the workout is and surprise them every time. They'll love it. I was really anxious when you said, oh, I'm a goal-setting person. I'm like, oh God, he's not going to like me. I love goal setting. I think everything's achieved by goal setting. I think the SMART goal methods is so outdated and so old-fashioned, we really should move on. Just going to propose this. It is based on research. A is where you are, B is where you want to be. This is the gap. I call this mind to the gap. Because all what you want to achieve happens here. Yeah? And it's usually a lack of skills or knowledge or commitment that affect whether you get from A to B. Now usually D down here is your SMART goals, specific, measurable, accurate, realistic, time framed. Yeah? Or time bound, whichever you're doing it. What a lot of fitness people do is they go, where are you now? They ask the person, where do you want to be? The person gives some spurious response of, oh, I want to lose a stone, and some bizarre time frame to do it in. And then we move straight into how we're going to measure that, what's the time. That is the motivator. It's called a superordinate goal. You can look up the research or you can email me and I'll send you the research. It's by Sager. And these are the emotional drivers that drive the behaviour. What will that do for you? I think you mentioned about PTs, you know, might even feel warm and fluffy about giving up an hour to do support. But that's that. That has nothing to do with this bit. It's the emotional drivers that move people through activity. So I ride my bikes, which is what I do outside if I'm not in the gym, and I do it to spend time on my own, to clear my head and give myself time to think. And if I get that, it's a good bike ride, irrespective of distance, speed, and how much mud I'm covered in. Because that's what I use it for. If I can't get that, if someone says, I'll come for a ride with you, I'm like, what are you riding? They go, I was going to go out on the road, but I was going to do a mountain bike session. You know, I'll keep swapping it around. How far do you want to go? They go, 20 miles, I'm only going to do 10 tonight. Because I just want to be on my own when I exercise. Because I spend all the rest of my time with large groups of people.
Why don't you just tell them you want to be on your own?
Sometimes I do. But the people who really know me don't ask to come and work, you know. It's usually like tomorrow I'm in Swansea and someone will say, I'm taking my bike, I'll go for a ride in the evening. So, oh, I'll come for a ride with you. And I'm like, oh, don't, please. I'm not that good. I've got all the gear.
Sorry, Paul,
yeah. Right, we'll do this quickly then. Why they stay, achieving their goals, we've got to help them change behaviours. Most people think that once they've joined, they get that. I've purchased a membership, where's my result? They don't think about all the effort that goes into getting from A to B. So we have to help them change behaviours. We have to find programs that improve adherence, not just a perfectly physiologically designed to achieve results. And I think sometimes we need to back off. One of my bugbears is that on the physical activity guidelines for weekly and monthly behaviour, I think you should say build up to 30 minutes 5 times a week. Not 30 minutes 5 times a week. Because anyone who can't do that just goes, can't do that, there's no point doing anything. Whereas if you put it in front of you, build up to, people go, ooh. Because they always believe they're going to get there. They always believe they're going to get there. In health clubs, it's about the quality of the offering, it's about the support they get, it's about being valued as a customer. So these aren't the things you'll see in the traditional academic literature that's looking at, you know, income. It's like, does the business I'm training within actually value me as a customer? Because if they don't, I don't stay. Staff talk to you not just for your money, is that one. So In the club where I train, the personal trainer has been told to stop walking up to customers and saying, I've been watching your running technique. There's a couple, so there's a few of you experiencing it. There's a few things you could do. I'm a personal trainer, and in the club I'm in, they get, well, they get that verbally. Some of the exercise environments aren't designed to be supportive, particularly ones where you walk in and the first thing you see is all the big free weights and everything. So they're not designed well. The other one that sort of came out is it's easy to use the environment rather than you having to hunt around. People like frictionless, easy to do, not hard to find. I've got to walk around trying to find a cross trainer. That's a cross trainer, okay. Which is the pec deck. What is a pec deck? But also for long-term exercises in gym environments, they want to see some investment year on year. That something's happening within the club. I'm spending some money. I'm spending my money every month. Where's your investment? What are you putting back in with all the money, not just taking the money out? I videoed it, so you can have a copy of it to check and then come back to me with other questions. Any other questions now? I'm conscious we've got to go. Thank you very much. I'm happy to stay and answer questions even though you want to leave.
I know there's a few people like to rush off, so if you do have questions for Paul, he's here. I think there's a bit of wine and a bit of food left. I think we're okay in here for a little bit longer. If you do need to go, then thank you very much for coming.